Get ready, because Banter with Richie B Productions is launching an all-new podcast network. 4 shows, 4 hosts, 1 powerhouse of paranormal and cryptid entertainment all week long. Ghost Cats and Cryptids, joining the Banter with Richie B Podcast Network every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join researcher Jean Tewskbury as she dives into the world of mountain lions, the elusive predators known as ghost cats. Jean also explores cryptids, separating fact from folklore and asking the questions others won't. Kick off your week on Tuesdays with the one and only Wojo, host of Home of the Boom. He's diving deep into the world of cryptids, Bigfoot, and the mysteries that shake the woods. Interviews, investigations, and the loudest boom in the cryptid community. Every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fridays get a little darker and a whole lot prettier. Join Sam from Sam's Pretty Paranormal, where makeup meets the macabre. It's Sam After Dark, spooky storytelling, and her fan favorite segment, Cooking for the Dead. Tune in every Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for glam, goosebumps, and all things ghoulish. And every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the flagship show returns, Banter with Richie B Live, featuring Richie B and Wojo. From updates to investigations to wild discussions, this is the core of the network. Raw, real, and always unpredictable. Spend your Saturday evenings with the duo that started it all. 4 nights of content, 4 incredible hosts, cryptids, ghosts, glam, stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. This is the Banter with Richie B Podcast Network.
That one is just absolutely beautiful. Hey everybody, welcome to the premiere episode of Ghost Cats and Cryptids. I'm your host, Jean Tewskbury. I'm gonna try to scroll back over here to the chat so I can say hi to everybody and see what we've got here. All right, so let's see. Hey Kurt, how are you? Denny, it's good to see you. Let's see. And it looks like we've got Brandy in the house. Awesome. Let's see, D-Hoot, I'm glad to see you. So I took the time tonight and I've decided that the first episode was going to be an introduction to me. A lot of people don't know how I got into doing this or a lot about my research. Some of you do because I've, done stuff with Richie and been on the show and discussed some of the stuff, but I figured I would just kind of go over so you guys have an introduction more of, the stuff that I do, how I came about. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. I would love to answer anything. Let's see. Oh, hey, David, how are you? Benno, yay. And Sam, the amazing executive producer for the...
Hey, what's going on in here? What the hell's happening on my restream? What are you doing?
What?
Is today your start of your show? I thought it was tomorrow.
Oh my God. Get off my show. Get off my show.
Let's go, everybody. We love you, Jean. You did awesome on the opening. I'm so proud of you. I just wanted to jump in here and wish you luck and surprise the hell out of you.
I thought I did something wrong. You're messing with me.
No, we love you, man. Everybody enjoy Jean Tewksbury. She's one of my favorite researchers, and it's an honor to have her here. Please, please, please. Thank you so much, Jean. Good luck. You got this, girl. We'll see you later. Keep climbing, Jean Tewksbury. See ya.
Okay there, Richie. Calm down. Too much caffeine. You've got way too much faith in me, but I appreciate it all. I really am happy to be a part of the Banter with Richie B podcast family. Let's see who else is here. Hey, Martin, how are you? Saw those tracks that you were posting. Those are really awesome earlier on in the group chat. All right, let's see. I think I'm caught. Oh, hey, John, how are you? Brandy. I'm sorry, guys. I am really new to this, so it's taken me a while. Hey, Carl. Good to see you. Wow, everything is going really fast here. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I know that you know that I do the ghost cat research, which is, most people are like, what the hell are ghost cats? It's one of the 40 names for mountain lions. They're called catamounts, mountain lions, cougars, ghost cats. They're called American lions. They're called a plain lion. They're called tigers. The list goes on and on and on. I found a new one, though, that was part of the 40 that I actually like, because all cats are, is they're called sneak cats because they are very sneaky. They're very sly. They're very stealthy. But with my research being the way it is now, it has changed a lot. I actually had gotten into the whole topic of cryptids, which at the time I didn't even know there was a word for or name for. Let's see who else. Whoa, Joe. Andy, hi. And that was by seeing the movie, or I don't know, it was like a movie documentary type thing back in the 70s called Sasquatch, The Legend of Bigfoot. I saw that, watched that. I was so intrigued by it. It was the first time I'd seen the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Watched the whole thing, was like, this is, and if you watch it now, it's actually quite boring for a lot of people, but I still love it because it's got the whole wilderness area, the animals. I thought it was really good at the time, and I actually still enjoy it now. But when I had watched it, I got fascinated, and I was like, what the heck is this thing? And I was trying to find out anything I could on it. And I'm only 7. Thankfully, though, in the 4th grade, I found a book on Bigfoot. It was a John Green one, and I read it and got the stories from Ruby Creek, got the stories of Albert Ostman, let's see, Ape Canyon, and more. And I remember reading the book front to back, and I went in and I talked to my 4th grade teacher, and I was so excited. I'm like, have you heard this? Have you read this? Do you know anything about this? And I was explaining the parts of the Albert Ostman story to my teacher, and he looked at me and he said, oh my word, I can't believe you just read that. You just wasted your time. It's a bunch of nonsense. Okay, well, 9 years old now, devastated, because I had a difficult time in school being able to read and understand, comprehend what I was reading. And to have him tell me that, I was just floored. So I said, that's it. I'm not going to talk about it again. I still researched the stuff, continued on, and I was able to work at the ICM for a while. And I learned a lot more about cryptozoology. It was amazing, an amazing experience. I was able to learn about animals that are extinct, that they're possibly still here, like the thylacine, and how the coelacanth came about. That was an animal that was thought to be extinct for 65 million years, and it was rediscovered in 1936. So I was talking with a person, and they were like, well, you ought to look into mountain lions and, well, mystery cats in your area. When you say mystery cats to me, I automatically assume that you're talking black cats, or black panthers, as most people like to call them. And I was kind of like, what? And the person was like, no, you need to look into mountain lions. The area that you live in Lincoln County has got the highest concentration, and they're thought to be extinct in the state. No, they're not. I said, I grew up in Mid-Coast, Maine, in Rockland, and it's by the ocean. So you didn't have a whole lot of animals, but every now and then you would get reports of like a bear coming through, or you'd see a moose, and you'd hear stories of a big cat, a mountain lion, bobcat, whatever. And so it was not a common thing to have around, but you would have you seen any Bigfoot prints while out tracking big cats? No, I have not. I have seen some Bigfoot tracks when I was out doing that, but I have not seen any while I'm tracking big cats, D-Hoot. That's a good question. Uh, hey, Cooley, UFO. Yay. I'm glad you could make it. So going back and forth, I ended up finding out that I was wrong. This person was right. They were considered to be extinct within the state, or extinct. They were still listed as being an animal here, but it was they were thought to be extinct, they hadn't been around for 100 years, which is okay. Not true. Not with the sightings that I had heard. I mean, I had people coming up to me in the 1990s telling me about, one gentleman had one cross on Route 9 in front of his car. He got out to actually see where it had gone, and he couldn't see it, but he did say that from the bushes was a very low, very subtle growl. So he decided that it was time to get in his car and leave. Mountain buck screaming. My dog's bust through the screen door. Wow. Holy cow. Really, dude? That's amazing. And yeah, now see, first show, I'm going to screw up. I'm sorry. I really do apologize. And then again, another gentleman, I was volunteering at a school. Well, my son was at another school in the same district, and the bus driver, I would help at the end of the day with the kids. I'd get on the bus and help deliver them, and then I would end up at the other school where my son was to pick him up. And one day we were talking, and he was telling me that he was driving to the school back in 1993. And as he was coming down over the hill, because there's a hill that comes down, it's a marsh area on both sides of the road. One's got a big field with a rock wall on the other side of it. But as he was coming down, he saw this very large cat. He said it was completely tawny, long, thick tail, black at the end. And he just couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was 7:30 in the morning, and he had talked to a couple of his friends to tell him what he had seen. And they told him, "Oh, no, you saw a bobcat." And as he's telling me this, I didn't think much of it. I mean, like I said, I'd heard stories and everything about them. And that all turned around and changed on me when it became April 2nd of 2022, because I had taken my daughter to work, and coming down over the hill in that same area, but the opposite way, I see an animal coming out from this little where the culvert is, and I slowed down, and I swore when it came out I was going to hit it. I was in a little Nissan Juke, so the car's not that big, and as I slowed down, the thing came out, and it was a large feline, and it's running along the front side of my passenger side car. So I'm going slow, trying not to hit it, because it is running right up the road. And it went probably a good 50, 60 yards straight up, still in front of my vehicle on that side. And then it just took one heck of a leap, leapt sideways. You could see the tail and everything. And I'm looking, going, what the heck? I just about hit a little leopard, because I did not realize at the time that mountain lions, when they are small, are a rusty brown with big black spots all over them. And that's what this had. And the tail was long, and it had that black tip on the end. I got up to the top of the hill, turned around, came back down, parked my car, got out, and I went looking for it where it had gone in. And that was stupid, because where it was so young. Hey, Mary, how are you? Mama wouldn't have been too far away. Thankfully, I did not find it, and I did not have an issue with Mama. I did go home, grab my gear, come back, and I found the track that it put in the sand before it had got to the roadway, and I was able to cast it. So I do have that. I posted that on a couple different groups just to get their opinions on it. I was asked if I had reported it to wardens, and I said no, because just like most people here, we don't report to the wardens, because what you end up getting is you saw a bobcat, you saw a lab, you saw anything but a mountain lion, because they're not here. The issue with all of that is there's just so many reports that come out, and so I decided I would start a group called Eastern Ghost Cat Research. I put it on Facebook, and I wanted to give people a place where they could actually go and tell their stories without ridicule. Let them know if they didn't want to do it that way, they could direct message me. And since then, I have been taking reports from Maine. I've actually gotten reports out of Massachusetts and other areas of sightings. I've had people on Facebook who are friends of mine that know that I'm into doing this now, actually tag me into posts where there's photos and stuff. I've gone to people's houses. I have taken photos of the areas. I have their photo, and then I get one of the same spot without the cat. And then what I try to do is compare, so I can get like a size comparison. I actually decided a while ago that since it's very hard and it's just me, that I would create my own mountain lion. So I actually have a cardboard 6-foot mountain lion that's 28 inches high from shoulders to the ground, so that I can get a better accurate reading of if it was exactly what they saw. Because I'm not going to lie, when it comes to sightings, whether it's Bigfoot, whether it's ghost cats, whether it's any other type of cryptid, a lot of times 80% of them are misidentification, because our eyes will play tricks on us, whether we want to believe it or not. And in doing the research that I've been doing, I have talked to numerous newspaper journalists who have done article on top of article on the sightings in the state. One being V. Paul Reynolds, who does the Northwood Sporting Journal. He actually sent me some paperwork on archive sightings and stuff that he's done. Let's see. Okay, we're still going. All right, you guys are having a great chat there. So, and then I actually spoke to one that was in, my son saw one about 5 years ago in Haystack Mountain. Wow. Yes, in Connecticut. Yep. I actually had a state trooper talk to me 2 years ago. That was a Vermont state trooper, and he was telling me he actually came across when he got it on his dash cam, and when he was talking to the warden service there in Vermont, they said, yeah, they come in from Canada, which is kind of funny, because Ontario will tell you that they don't really have a population of them either. Miss Mary. So yeah, it's when I first started getting into this, even before I had my sightings, my sighting itself, and I'm getting reports from people, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna just start looking into different things, papers and stuff that were done. And I found an interesting one, and I was able to download it. I got a hold of the company and asked if there was a way to get a copy of it. The University of Montreal did a study, because there was not supposed to be any mountain lions, cougars, ghost cats, whatever, below the St. Lawrence River in Quebec, south of it. And New Brunswick says there's none. Nova Scotia says said there was none. And they did a study from 2000 to 2011 where they sent scratch traps posts. And what they did was they did it to collect hair samples. They collected several. And when they were done testing, 19 of them came back positive as being mountain lion DNA. So what they decided to do was break it down into haplotypes to see if they could figure out which were North American, which were South American, because there's a difference between those cats. And they found that 9 of them were, in fact, South American. So they assumed that they were most likely escape pets. And then the other 6 that they got were North American, but they had no way to figure out if they were from the West or if they were descendants from the East. So, but it was positive, and it was a great thing. And with that all being said and done and stuff, I was looking into more things, and I came across a New York Times article that the Banter program had put out, trying to figure out if there was enough habitat in the eastern U.S. to sustain, mountain lions coming back, and there was plenty of territory. And they had the map. I actually have shared that on the Eastern Ghost Cat site that I have the page, and it's like they're here. There's no way around it. They I always tell everybody they're very elusive. They will stay away from humans. I'm not stupid when I go out, because I do research on my own. I do have a respect. I do know that they are powerful cats, and I do not want to do anything that would cause myself any harm in researching them. The only time I really do worry is the time that if I come across a baby, and it doesn't matter if it would be the juvenile that I saw or a bear cub or anything. All animals, they go into mama bear mode, and I would prefer not to be in the middle of that, because they're not going to stop. They don't care. Let's see. I'm glad there are so many researchers. Hey, Jason. How are you? Oh, Robin. Hi. Thanks for being here. Oh, thank you. So yeah, with all of that stuff going on, trying to get all the paperwork and stuff done, I thankfully, I do feel very grateful too. If you can see behind me, you can see this little guy. He's my taxidermy mountain lion. I was really, really lucky. There's a awesome woman. She has passed away, Nancy Dobson. She was a mountain lion researcher in upstate New York. Well, actually, I should say Western New York. And she had passed away, and her family had reached out to see if there was anybody who could keep her research going. I spoke with them several times for several months, and they ended up handing her research over to me. So that's why I have these maps. I've got folders that cover Ontario, they cover New York. Pennsylvania is insane with mountain lion sightings there, along with some other scientific papers, and the neuroscope that they did on the cat that was killed in Connecticut that came from South Dakota. It's just, she did phenomenal work, exceptional work. And I feel so blessed that the family had allowed me to continue her work. Let's go. All right, Richie, we're going. Let's see. Oh, Benno. Every time farmers report. Yeah, I've noticed that. I actually have a thing, Benno, on the Australian cats. I had downloaded, because that's very interesting. They do have the black cat sightings there. This is so cool. Yeah, it is really cool that I have the information. And it's very cool that I have been able to connect with other people, and also with eyewitnesses. Hey, Big Henry, how are you? It's been great, because I feel like I'm giving other people a voice. And I know that even when I do get some reports, they may not be, but at least it gives them somebody to actually talk to try to see if, did they possibly see this, or could it have been something else? I've had people, when I gave a talk, not last year, but the year before, somebody had come to that, and she ended up messaging me and sending me a photo of a skull she found on her property, and she thought it might be a big cat, whether bobcat, lynx, or a mountain lion. And I had to break it to her gently that it was a fox skull. I am very, very into the skulls and stuff. I like to know the anatomy. I like to know the animal. I want to know what I'm talking about and make sure that I can, I'm telling people correctly. And I love this research. I love being able to be out in the field. It's my happy place. Well, Richie knows it's his happy place. Whoa, Joe, everybody that gets out there. It's nice just being out to nature. And 90% of the time to 98% of the time, I don't find anything. But it's still nice to be out there and to at least try to, hey, Tim, it's great to see you. No, there is no difference between cougars and mountain lions. They're the same exact species. It's just different names. They are the only cat in the world that has 40 different names. And I have the list of all of the names. They can be called cougars, mountain lions. They can be called catamounts, ghost cats. We went over this earlier. American lions. They can be called all kinds of different things. So yeah, it is the same exact cat. The thing about these animals that I find very intriguing is the fact that they are the most adaptable animal in the world. They can live anywhere from the tropics of South America to the Arctic temperatures in Alberta. They can live in marsh areas. They can live in deserts. They can live in forest areas. And then I have this shirt on, and he will be one of the topics on another episode, but P22, who actually lived in Los Angeles, California, in a park there. Like I said, he'll be a different topic because I have a lot of information on him. And I love P22 because he actually was able to show people that you can coexist with these animals. Let's see. Okay, thanks. Oh, no problem. I'm glad you asked. A lot of people do ask that. Snow leopards as well. No, snow leopards. Oh, yeah, snow leopards. Trying to figure out, what about snow leopards, Jason? This is snow leopards as well. Yeah, Brandy, they're very amazing. And I did an interview with Mike Tinsley from the New Hampshire Bigfoot group, and I say this to everybody, and then when I was talking to him, I said the same thing too. Yes, they're supposed to be extinct in the eastern U.S., but if you are hunted to the point of extinction, okay, are you going to go near what put you in that position in the first place? My theory on these big cats, at least in my area, because a lot of the sightings come around wetland areas, marshes, areas that they can get to that we can't. And when I do my research, it's a lot like, there was somebody, can you rehabilitate mountain lions? Car Strike is a place in New England that does that. I don't know if there's a place in New England that does that. I mean, they can most likely, Gray's Animal Park has some mountain lions. That's the state of Maine park. They would probably do it. And then, there's Dew Haven that I've been there. They've got a couple of mountain lions, but I don't think that they are they equipped to. They might be. Yeah, so I'm not sure if there is. I know that there's a place in Massachusetts that has them too. So I'm not really sure about the rehab things if there was. Thermal footage of a test. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I did a talk for the Vogels back in 2019 because Tim asked me to, and I told him no at first, but then you can see right now I love to talk. And so I decided to do it, but I did it on my Bigfoot and on cryptozoology itself. And one of the things that I discussed was the Tasmanian tiger, because they are so amazing. An animal that can unhinge its jaw. It looks like a dog. It's marsupial. Both males and females of the species had pouches, and I do hope that they have survived. I did actually talk to a gentleman who was a Yowie researcher who came at one of the places that I worked at, and he was telling me that every time a Tasmanian tiger sighting had happened and people had talked to, like, your wardens there, I'm not sure what they call them, they would always be, no, you saw a dingo, no, you saw a dingo. He goes, and then he said, well, then he was talking to one of the gentlemen and he didn't say that, and he just kind of chuckled, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he said he's actually, one of the wardens there, and he had his own sighting, so he couldn't argue with himself, which I did find funny. I saw that article they were looking to, but they've been saying that for about 3 years now. So I'm hoping that Vermont does reintroduce the catamounts. But the article, I saw you share one, and then I saw another one that says that there's a lot of opposition against it, which I don't understand. I do hope that the Tasmanian tigers are still alive as well. That they're just phenomenal, and it was bad. I mean, Benjamin, the last one that died in captivity, it was so sad. But with the I don't know how, there's like I said, a lot of opposition with that, with the catamount reintroduction. And when I was talking to the former state biologist in this state who had them, the mountain lions declared extinct in 2018. So it hasn't been that long that they were declared federally extinct and removed from the endangered species list. But when I was talking to him, he was like, oh no, we can't, keep it a secret. Because I said, a lot of people say that, it's very robotic they're told by the wardens, that's not what you saw. You saw a dog, you saw this, you saw a bobcat, you saw whatever. And he was like, no. And then I said, I keep getting told that I am going to open up this big can of worms with trying to prove that they are still here, because everybody's they're going to mess with the logging companies, and they're going to, you won't be able to hunt, you won't be able to do this, they're going to they're going to need to be protected. And he was like, I said, what changed when you had them removed from the endangered species list? And he said, nothing. And I said, then why is it such a big? He goes, it isn't. He says, but once somebody has a mindset, he said, it just blows out of proportion and all this stuff happens. Brandy. Well, I would love that. I'm hoping to go on an adventure sometime with Richie and Wojo too. I know you did, so maybe we could collaborate and meet down there. Oh, that's cool. I would love to see that footage there, Benno. Yeah, it's insane. I know you guys are, and you didn't make that post shareable. I really wanted to share that you guys were going to be there, but it wouldn't let me do it. Yeah, I saw that you had taken several reports. Holy crap. Yeah, and I've got one for to add to you guys too, because I had somebody reach out to me on Messenger there because they saw the other interview that I did. That is so cool, though. Okay, so Benno, since you're on this, what did you think of the photos, the Peter Grove photos from 2019? Because a lot of people think that that's a fox or something, but there's a lot of people that think that that's a Tasmanian tiger. Do you know the photos that I'm talking about? You don't trust them. Yeah, well, a lot of people don't trust any government, so. Let's go. All right. So, yeah, so you guys, next time you do one of those those things where you're going to be doing the seminars and stuff, Tim, there, you guys have got to be able to make that shareable. So, we'll continue on here. So yeah, when I'm out and I'm doing my stuff, and like I said, I was able to get that track. I did talk to my current state biologist. I sat down and had a talk with him. And he was telling me all of the reasons why there's no mountain lions here, because, you know, we don't have enough caves for them, which I kind of laughed at, due to the fact that they don't need caves. They can use thick thickets. They can use turned up trees just like bears do. They can use just about anything. It does not need to be just a cave. I got dibs on it. So yeah, we were arguing over that. And then I showed him the photo of my track, and I loved the whole expression on his face, because he was literally looking at this thing going, oh my God, this is not symmetrical, because canine tracks are symmetrical. He goes, this is asymmetrical. And he's going, this is, wow, this is cool. This is not symmetrical. This is asymmetrical. And he's looking at the photo and he's doing all that. And I know Richie's going to want to tie my hands here pretty soon, because they're flailing all about. But he finally, after going back and forth, he's like, oh my gosh, they're rounded. There's no defining claw marks. He's like, where did you get this? And I explained my sighting. And can you see the large head of proportions in some frames? Definitely not a dingo, or yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that, Benno. And so I explained my sighting to him, and he literally just handed back the photo, and he said, you're saying that we have a breeding population. You're wrong. Da, 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 da. And he just dropped it. He would not talk anymore. I had shown him a photo of a picture that was sent to me. I went and checked out the property. He told me that it was a regular house cat or a gray fox, but it wasn't a mountain lion. And I said, really? I said, so you see the comparison here? Because like I said, I do comparison photos. And in the comparison, where the trees are, there is a 2-foot stump when you have it without the cat. Now, with the cat in there, you can't see that 2-foot stump. A house cat's not going to cover a 2-foot stump that is probably about a good 2 feet in diameter. And yeah, so we went back and forth. He more or less told me that I didn't know what I was talking about, but then told me I do a great job and he would like to be kept informed. And he also asked me if I could hand over some of the newspaper articles, because I have a collection since the 1990s, and it actually has the one where they got confirmed hair sightings out of Cape Elizabeth. And for some reason they don't have that report, so that article or anything on it. So he asked if he could have a copy of it, and then asked if I would be willing to share with another one of the biologists for the state. And so I was like, sure. Jean, is there a large amount of researchers in New England, or low numbers? A large amount of researchers for what, Wojo? Because I'm confused. I mean, there's a bunch. I know a bunch of Bigfoot researchers throughout, but oh, Tansei Mama Bear Claw, thank you for being here. Yeah, so I mean, I know that there's a large number of researchers for like Bigfoot and other stuff. I know with the big cats, I don't know too many people that do. I've actually there's a Maine Bigfoot Foundation group here in Maine, and one of the members, yeah, okay, yeah, and I don't know of many. There's probably a couple, but I don't know of any, because I have been at least in this state, I've been told that people are extremely happy that somebody's finally actually looking into stuff. I mean, they have an interest, but they're not doing anything. I'm actually documenting now. Like I said, I will go to people's homes and stuff. Yeah, I got that. Well, the bobcats, we have plenty of bobcats. We actually have plenty of Canadian lynx too. I know that those are endangered, but we have a crap ton, and they're thriving, because if you go on to the Maine wildlife page, people are getting photos left and right of lynx and baby lynx. Oh, wow. I know here they're supposed to be, Henry, you said last I heard they're still protected. They're not federally protected here. When I talked to the current state biologist, because I talked to the former one, and he said, oh, they had to make sure that they were protected before they removed them from the endangered species list, because of all of the animal rights groups. So when I was talking to the current state biologist, I said, what is their protection? And he said, oh, the protection is if you shoot one, you get a fine, just like you would if you shot a deer. Hey, Michelle, how are you? And I just kind of looked at him weird, and he didn't like that look either. Yeah. And thank you, Tim. And so I said, wait a minute. I said, that's not protect. He goes, yes, it is. And I said, no, it's not. And I said, so what happens the next time? And he said, technically, if you did it again, you get another slap on the wrist, a bigger fine. By the third time, you lose your hunting license. And that's when I looked at him and went, what? So, okay, you don't realize that there's a lot of, pardon the expression, yahoos in the state that don't have licenses, that just shoot for the heck of it, which that didn't do sense. Yeah, we were discussing that, Martin. You were telling me about that you had had heard of some sightings and stuff. So yeah, we got into a little bit of a, I don't know, let's just say pissing contest, because I thought he was wrong. He thinks he's right. Because literally he told me to, with the mountain lions, because they are a big cat and they are scary to most people. If you have one come across your property, you have the right to shoot it, because you can just say that you felt like your life was in danger, which I don't agree with. I mean, if it is attacking an animal or something, yeah. But I follow, and when I started doing this, I got this book. This is my Bible on research. This is Bruce S. Wright's Ghosts of North America. It's from 1953. He was a wildlife biologist who is out of New Brunswick. He passed away in the 70s, but he was working in New Brunswick fighting a fire when one of his colleagues had seen a mountain lion, and they both kind of stood there, and the guy was like, oh my gosh, did you see that mountain lion? And Bruce stood there, and he was like, what? They're not supposed to be here. While being a wildlife biologist, he decided, you know what, I'm going to look into this. And he has sightings, because they were supposed to be extirpated in New England, at least for Maine, in the late 1800s. And he's got reports that go from 1901 up to the 1950s, one including a Maine warden who shot at one, realizing what he was shooting at after the fact, and was glad that he missed. But I love his work, because he was talking about camera scent traps. And then you have the University of Montreal, who actually did the scent scratch traps, where they got their hair samples. They did at one point recognize mountain lions in New Brunswick again, but it was after he had passed. So it was kind of sad that he didn't get to be told that he was right. Well, yeah, that's the thing, is if they're attacking, you do have every right, but you have to understand that, and that's what I was getting at with Bruce, is what his research was, and a lot of the stuff that I've learned, because I once I started doing this, I became a member of the Mountain Lion Foundation in California, which is all the way over there. But they have they have the knowledge, they have this stuff. So it's good to be able to follow and get updated information, because Bruce said there's no way to tell the difference between mountain lions from the east and mountain lions from the west. They're the same damn species, and you will have scientists go subspecies this, subspecies that. And the former state biologist said it's one species. They do like to do the subspecies thing, but it's one species, unless you have had one that was from South America that was a pet that had been released. And they do, then you're going to get, it will be a different species of it. But when Bruce was talking about it, I mean, he did great research on it. He talked to farmers, everything. And I learned from that, and from what I've been learning, that the only time I really worry about being attacked is, like I said, first and foremost, if there's a cub. Mama will protect baby no matter what. And then you have to worry about ones that were weaned too quick from mama, because they usually stick with mama for up to 2 years. Now, I can see a mama getting really tired of that, and some of them kick them away a little earlier, and they haven't learned how to hunt properly. They will go for the easiest thing that they can find. Most of the time, it's going to be livestock or small pets. And then the other one is when they get too old to actually be able to physically hunt like they should. Oh, wow. Yeah, I have 3 mountain lion skulls behind me. I also have a lynx and a bobcat. I've got a ton. That's so cool, though, Benno. And the last, but if they're too old and they can't hunt, they're not quick enough, they will go for the easiest prey. And that's when you have to start worrying. But I haven't had any issues like that. I have had people say that they've seen them, and the second they see them, the first thing they start posting is, watch your pets, watch your kids, watch this. But one of my favorite newspaper articles that I have is a woman who was out in her backyard. It was up near Winthrop, and this was back in 19. Hold on, let me find it. See, this is why I love having this right here, because it's like right. Look at this. These are all of my newspaper articles. I go right through. Let's see, where was it? I just want to make sure I get the town right. That's all, because the story itself, I have that like completely memorized, because it is like the most fascinating freaking article. The woman was just incredible with her description and everything that she did. And that's the other. All right, you know what? I should have been a little more prepared. See? A little more prepared. All right, anyways. All right, I'm not going to get the town, because of the fact that, I've got too many newspaper articles. But anyways, so I know it was near Winthrop. Anyways, it wasn't Winthrop itself. But the woman was in her backyard with her 9-year-old and her 5-year-old, and the kids were playing on their swing set. And the youngest one happened to look out into the field. It was like a little marsh area behind her house, and see a tail and screams out, "Lion!" And she looks up, and she said the thing just hopped right out of the high grass onto the edge of their property, and was walking along kind of like stealthily. Well, the 9-year-old freaked out a little bit and started backing up, and she was trying to get the kids together, but he was freaking out, wanting to get to the house. She figured if they stayed still, they'd be fine. And he fell over, and when he did, it caught the cat's attention, and the kid ran for the house. Well, cat didn't really care, which is unusual, because they tell you not to run when you come across them. But they found out as the thing went on, the 5-year-old noticed that there was a house cat off in the field further down, and that's what it was stalking. She said the cat looked at them when the older one fell, didn't bare its teeth, didn't do anything, just kind of went right back to focus on the cat. And the little boy, after it was still stalking and sneaking, screamed out, "Run, kitty, run!" to the house cat, and it did freak the cougar out, mountain lion, and it jumped back into the tall grass and just disappeared. But she said she didn't feel threatened, and she was worried for her kids, and stuff, but she said it didn't show any aggression, anything like that. And I just find that is awesome. It's fascinating. She did do the right thing by trying to keep the kids together and not, making a commotion and stuff. But it's like kids screaming sound like hurt rabbit. Yeah. Well, when kids scream, it hurts. Cats have sensitive ears anyway, so it freaked the cat out enough that he or she, I don't know, jumped into the high grass, and it was never seen. They didn't see it again. So, but it's one of my favorites just because of the fact that she said that she did not feel that she was in, there was any harm going to be happening or anything. She didn't feel it in distress or anything. Oh, that was in Maine. It was somewhere near Winthrop. I was trying to remember the town and I couldn't remember the town. Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Yeah, so I just when I'm out, I do I don't have it with me. It was funny because I do have what I do is I do the scent traps as well. I do my trail cams, but I do scratch posts that my husband made me some stakes that I can put in the ground. I take duct tape and do them reverse side out, and then I'll set trail cams up. I do not do the cell ones. I prefer being able to be out in the woods. So I set them out and I leave them for 3 to 4 months at a time, just because I don't like trekking through. I mean, you're not going to see something if you keep going and moving something. So I leave them. I've gotten plenty of 50 million shots of deer because they just come right up to the trail camera anyways. I've gotten photos of coyotes, of turkeys, of crows, of bobcats. So I'm still looking for the cats, but I did a while back. I do the scent now. I used to do catnip. And it was funny, Wojo had said something about petroleum jelly, and that's what I do. I rub some petroleum jelly on rocks, and I would sprinkle the cat nip there because they are just like house cats. I'm sorry, they're bigger, they're scarier, yes, but they have the same tendencies. I think it's awesome when you see photos pop up of one underneath like a wooden swing and it's batting it. They do purr, they do screech. The one thing that I found very strange though is they chirp like birds. So I've done in depth. Yeah, I do. I actually have, and I will show you. I have this right here is paperwork, and this is all of, well, this is the states. This isn't, none of mine are in here, but these are the reports. It's like 12 pages from 1938 when the last known mountain lion in the state was killed by a Quebec hunter, right up until, what was the last date on here? I want to say 2020. So supposedly it's got all of them on there. The mountain lion, and it also has wolf ones too, because there was a nice photo. I follow the Wolf Coalition of Maine, and there's been some nice photos. Not sure if it's a wolf, but there's a couple different. Than if not, they are very, very big furry coyotes. Yeah, they did they when they're weaned with laughing faces. Yeah, when they're weaned, they have to move on. The territories that males have can be up to 125 miles, and females are usually within a 50 mile radius. Females can overlap, males can't. That's why they assume the one in South Dakota ended up in Connecticut. It was looking for its own territory. So they have a large territory, and that's the other part of it too. Is you got to figure 120. Okay, LOL, not in trouble. Yeah, so when they're weaned, yes, hoot with the laughing faces. They do look for new territory. Third time is a charm. Okay. Yeah, so it's just there's a lot to kind of take in with the stuff, and yeah, I have kind of bouncing around, but that's just because the knowledge is just going here, there, and everywhere. Plus, we're going off topic a little bit here with other stuff. Hello, Auntie Mr. Maria. Okay. All right, there. Everybody's got little laughy faces. I'm glad everybody's having a good time. Yeah, so I do have, when I said the scent traps and stuff, I got it but I have a huge bottle of cougar urine. Manchester Wildman Research. I'd like to talk about your area of research and share some information. Can you get? Oh. Yeah, so the males always know where. Well, not always. P22 was the loneliest bachelor. It just really depends. But yeah, usually you can have 3 females in the same area as one male. But like that's research from, places where there actually are larger populations of them and stuff, because they've got very large ones. But what I love is I was pulling up stuff, because I do pull up stuff from like Wyoming and other places when they have different sighting stuffs, and I found that it was very intriguing that the Fish and Game will put down on the bottom of it, even if you've had a mountain lion sighting, they are extremely hard to track, and they may not be able to figure out where it went. That is true, because most of the times when they're tagging them, even in California and Washington State, they have to use dogs because they are extremely hard to track. So I hope this was informative. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna probably just get ready to say my goodbyes and call it a night. And I just want to say thanks again, Richie, for inviting me into the Banter with Richie B podcast family. Well, actually into the family altogether. And remember to watch Wojo's show Tuesday. And then, of course, you've got Sam After Dark. And then Richie's back on Saturday. And when it comes to research, everybody just remember, sometimes you have to say, what the hell? Signing off.